Okay, start by removing your hubcap. This takes a 19mm socket. Before you jack up the car, you're going to want to break loose your axle nut. This takes a 34mm socket. Also, if you don't have an impact wrench, this would be a good time to break loose your lug nuts. Now you just need to put the car up on jack stands. Once you get the tire off, you need to remove the two 15mm bolts holding on the brake caliper bracket. If the brake caliper won't come off, you might have to use a screwdriver or a hammer. Now use a bungee cord to get the caliper up out of your way. Now remove the bolt holding on the rotor with a T30 torx socket. You can smack the rotor with a hammer to get it to release, but when I used the impact to take off the axle nut, it ended up freeing up. Next, you want to free the axle from the actual wheel bearing assembly. And the reason you want to do that is when you actually pull the wheel bearing out, you don't want the axle to be attached. Mine ended up being seized up pretty bad. As you could tell, I didn't have much success with the gear puller. So I ended up screwing on the axle nut so I wouldn't ruin the threads, and just using a sledgehammer and hitting it a few times till it popped loose. To remove the wheel bearing assembly, there's three 13mm bolts on the back side of the spindle. have good access to that third bolt, go ahead and disconnect the pigtail for your ABS and get it out of your way. Once you get all the bolts out, now you can remove the wheel bearing. You might have to persuade it with a pry bar. As you can tell, the axle is still kind of seized up inside the wheel bearing. Now you're ready to install your new wheel bearing. Just repeat the steps that you've already done in reverse.